no damage. Absolutely BMing Genichiro left and right. That was beautiful, chat.
Hello, my name is Mitchriz. I am a Sekiro speedrunner. I recently performed a blindfolded speedrun of Sekiro at AGDQ 2022, and I'm going to break down some of the iconic moments and boss fights from that. So let's check it out. To get to blindfolded, it basically came down to I started doing challenge runs, and then I wanted to do new challenges, but it was like, man, everyone's done everything already, and I just wanted something new. I wanted something nobody had done before that I knew I could do, and since I'd seen all the bosses individually done blindfolded, I said, I know I can route that out and get a full blindfolded playthrough.
Good luck, Mitch. I believe in you.
My name is Gyoubu Oniwa!
For Gyoubu, I have a specific way that I'm gonna start the fight that lets me get attacks in, firecrackers, which actually does a lot of posture, and lets me get more free attacks in, and then immediately gets him into a stagger right after. And so that it almost takes out his entire phase 1 just by itself, and then we just have to do phase 2. The Akko here, totally unnecessary. Just makes the second phase a little bit faster. It is a speedrun after all, but that's the only reason for that. So 5 slashes at the start, then firecrackers, 7 slashes. Unfortunately, I lost the lock on here. That's super rare. That almost never happens. The way I actually got the lock on back is I basically was just swinging my camera around and pressing the grapple button. Once I heard that I got the grapple, I knew I was faced at him, so I locked back on. From here, I have to fight him kind of normally, so I can hear him grunting for each of his attacks. And so then I know, this is the 3-hit. This is the big swing. This is, you know, this one. I don't have a name for all of them, but in my head, I can keep them straight. Lost the lock on again. So obviously there's only a set number of attack animations that an enemy has. And some of them are multi-hit. So he'll do 3 hits in a row, exactly 1, 2, 3. Every time that he starts that first attack, he'll do the second and third. So that would be kind of what I might call an attack pattern. Gyoubu doesn't have a lot of extended attack patterns, like this, into this, into this. He's more so just one into the next, into the next. In this case, it was easier to fight him than it would be to get him to run off the cliff, just because that jump, it's not that hard to set up if I could definitely get to the tower, but running across an entire open field with no walls to orient myself or slide along, with Gyoubu yelling in my ear so I can't hear how many sprints I'm doing, so I can't hear if I've gotten things. It just made it a little bit too tough of a task to try to get that particular skip. I can keep track better of the lines in English than in any other language, and because I am relying on hearing when voice lines start, when they stop for audio cues, it's just easier for me to keep track of those in English. It works fine in Japanese. I think I've actually done it in Japanese before. The only thing is sometimes I'll get confused on certain dialogue lines that I'll just confuse 2 of them because they sound kind of similar. Whereas in English, I can actually understand the words, so I can separate them better.
Now, Mitch told me that this is maybe the mini-boss he's the most nervous for.
See, Aggie says, yep, I am the most nervous for this mini-boss. That was definitely true. So it starts up with movement to get in, kind of as normal, and then everything from here is a setup to get a deflect on him. So I take these exact movements in order to get into an exact position, right here, which is exactly 5 slashes and 1 jump will get me the perfect timing to get the deflect. 5. And I get it actually here on the very first attempt. 3 headshots and then firecrackers. But then I attack a little too early here. So I get a body shot instead of a headshot. And that ruins the entire thing because he gets a couple hits on me. I don't get the hits on him and he ends up killing me. To be honest, I was thinking, I knew this would happen. I had mentally prepared myself for this for weeks because I knew Bull was going to be the one that was going to give me trouble. That if I can make it through Bull, the rest of the run shouldn't be too big of a deal. There's obviously a few other difficult parts, but Bull was the part that I was just really nervous for, but also prepared for it to go poorly because it does a lot of the time. So that was mostly my thoughts, and then I just took the time. I think you can even see in my camera between runs. I breathe. I just center myself before giving it another go. Even in glitchless, you fight him instead of skipping him, and he is just the bane of my existence in that run. So weird with his movement. So weird with the deflect timing on him feels weird. It's just everything about him just annoys me. But especially in Blindfolded, I have no idea how to properly kill him without possibly taking a death. I've got a setup for the start, and after that, I'm kind of just praying. So yeah, finally getting through the toughest boss. Alright, so that's the perfect start. 3 hits. Firecrackers. Wait for him to come back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. He did hit me a bit, but I did get the 5th hit off. Not ideal, but good enough.
And from this point, he's just kind of playing it blind.
Oh, I got burned. I didn't even know.
Adapting as it goes. The bull has very bad audio cues because he's just running around like a maniac.
Yeah, so now I'm on a time limit before I'm just going to die. Oh, this is horrible luck. He is just running around.
Kind of just parry spamming, hoping he gets the hit there.
Oh my god. Again! He won't stop. There we go.
Okay, and the first death. I think he might revive to go for this again.
Yeah. If he just keeps running around, there's pretty much nothing I can do about it, because it's not like I can see where he is to follow him. So I just have to hope that at some point he's going to stop running. It just goes well enough. So actually, I got very lucky at the end. When you get him low on health, or technically high on posture, he has a chance to just freak out and run into a wall. And luckily that happened. If it didn't happen, it was going to be a real tight race to the finish there of whether I died or he died first.
This will only take a moment.
Before I fought Genichiro, I was an absolute noob at the game, just kind of struggling my way through, blocking mostly, didn't really get the deflect system, didn't know how to Mikiri counter, didn't know how to jump over sweeps. After Genichiro, I was a master. Still got my butt kicked by every boss after, but I felt like I improved so much just in that one fight. I think Genichiro to me was kind of like the teaching fight. It was the, all right, you've had a little chance to play around now get good. Genny's a little bit weird. There's a little distance between us. So if I just kept attacking like I did on Lone Shadow, some of the attacks would actually miss. They come from the wrong side of your body and they don't hit far enough to the left. So to make sure I do hit him to my left, I'm blocking and then starting up a first attack again, because the first attack always works. So then I just reset my combo by blocking. But I do know that it is 21 hits of the reset. But I always go for 22 just in case, because I'm not taking that chance. And then from here, if you use any healing item, including Persimmon, which doesn't actually heal, but counts as a healing item, he will always go for a thrust to try to interrupt your heal. That gives you a free Mikiri counter on his thrust every single time. That gets his posture almost full, and then from there I just use firecrackers to finish him off. As soon as you know one thing that they are guaranteed to do, just find the way to punish that one thing and get them to do it. And that's pretty much an easy way to make a speedrun or blindfolded speedrun strategy. And if we could just get like one more healing item, I wouldn't even need to use the firecrackers, I think. That's definitely one of my favorites, where the other blindfolded runners pretty much actually fight him, and I just said, I don't want to actually fight him. That sounds hard. I want to just cheese him. So start to finish, just don't let him do anything. And then for Guardian Ape, yeah, phase 1, this is just a pure speedrun strategy. He's supposed to stagger, take a few hits, and then on the final hit, he runs away. But if you just don't do the final hit, he doesn't run away, and it actually doesn't reset his stagger bar at all. So he's still at full stagger. He's no longer in the stagger animation. So when you hit him, it just starts the loop all over again. Very speedy and very easy for blindfolded. You just have to hear him getting up. It is a little hard to hear because he is very noisy, but pretty manageable. Wait, he gets back up? You're telling me there's a phase 2? What? But yeah, and then for phase 2, it's pretty much I just throw everything and the kitchen sink at him. I use every single item available. I use Jumping Mortal Draw, which is the most powerful skill in the game, to get a bunch of damage on him. And then basically I'm just trying to stagger him as much as possible using those Jumping Mortal Draws. So I use a Jumping Mortal Draw to stagger him, use a second Jumping Mortal Draw to get him close to stagger, and then the very next hit will get him right back into another stagger, right there.
Waiting through the combo. Oh my gosh!
So basically, I barely have to actually interact with his attacks, because for most of the fight, he ends up being staggered. If you had to fight both of them, if you couldn't just kill the main one and then move on, yeah, that would be tough. I don't know if I could do that blindfolded, but when you can just kill the main one in about, 10 seconds and then get out of there, it's not too bad. For Double Ape, it's super hard casually, but in a speedrun, it's actually, by far the easiest boss, because he just doesn't have a lot of health. And so if you save him for late in the game when you have a lot of attack power, you can see a single mortal draw basically just did half his health. Just 2 mortal draws and a couple hits, and he's down.
It seems we have a troubling guest.
So for Emma, we pick up the double Ichimonji skill. This was actually originally thought of by Lil Aggie, the commentator. But he would dodge afterwards, which worked for most of Emma's attacks, but not this one in particular. The 3-hit, you would dodge the first, and then she'd just smack you second and third and kill you. So I figured out that by blocking instead, it actually always works. Usually the downside to blocking is you gain posture, but double Ichimonji actually recovers your posture. It's part of the skill that it recovers your posture, so it doesn't matter that you're blocking her attacks. Then for Isshin, we switch over to Mortal Draw, which does more damage, but it's a similar thing of we just use Mortal Draw, and then we're going to get out of the way of his next attack. In this case, we do Mortal Draw, then 2 hits, miss those, unfortunately, then dodge out of the way of his next attack, and just loop from there. Same thing on the final phase. I'm out of emblems, so it'll take a bit longer. It'll take 4 or 5 mortal draws instead of 2 or 3. But overall, same strategy. Mortal draw, 2 hits, dodge, and jump.
Yeah, and we see, okay, there's a second MD. He probably needs 2 more for finishing this off. It looks to be a pretty good position. It depends which way Isshin dodges here. He might get stuck on that wall. Oh, he squeezes by and he's gonna do it. That is it.
The no damage. When's the time coming up?
Time will be as soon as the game logo appears after it fades to black. So there's about 10 seconds.
That fight sometimes takes 4 or 5 tries just to not have something go wrong. Especially, Aggie was even mentioning in the commentary, walls are the biggest enemy. Because if there's a wall and you try to dodge, you just still get hit because you didn't actually get out of the way. So really, really happy that that worked first try. It does work most of the time, probably 70% of the time, but when 30% of the time means you just have to do it over and over again, that's not great.
Now, time.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. What was that like just over 2 hours? Oh my God.
Well, my immediate thing was my parents actually had come over to watch it live in the other room on the big screen TV. So I turned off stream. I said, I'll see you all later, you online people. And I went and I sort of celebrated with my parents. They brought me some food from a food truck. And we just had a little party, little celebration before I came back and checked everything online. The routing was probably 90% just me by myself trying things. And then the help that I had was generally through Twitch chat. In between, oh, I try this, it didn't work, take off the blindfold, look over at chat, and they suggest, do this, try this, and giving me ideas for how to fix it up. There are definitely a few strategies that other people came up with. For example, the tutorial was almost entirely a runner that had started the Blindfolded project way before me. Just had no plans to actually finish it soon. They were just kind of like slowly working on making a route. And then some of the other strategies was from a particularly wonderful person in my chat called Zalich, who just, anytime that I had some place that I was really stuck on, I couldn't find something, they're like, hold on, let me try that. I'll come back in an hour with a strategy. You move on and do the next thing. And I was like, wow, thank you so much. When I finally did it, it was definitely the greatest achievement I've done. Getting world records is one thing. Getting the world's first is entirely different. That was so cool. That was like just the greatest experience I've had with completing any run at all. I don't think that you need the greatest memory ever for a lot of this stuff because it is so chunked out into little pieces, and it's I think it does have to do with I am very familiar with the game. So I'll always know, oh, I'm in this spot, so I need to do this thing. Or the menuing. For the menuing, the items are always in the exact same order. All right, shout outs to my wonderful Twitch community at twitch.tv/Mitchriz. I stream a few times a week if you want to check me out there. Shout out to the Sekiro speedrunning community. They are so awesome and so helpful, and I don't think I could have done this blindfolded run without their help. Always willing to help out, find new strategies and routing and everything together. And if you are at all interested, please check it out. But try it with your eyes open first. It'll be a lot easier, I promise.
Chat, I want all the $5 donations to come in if he gets this first try.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Locking on, dropping down. Oh my gosh, legend, frame perfect. Now gonna go for the sub pixel perfect, sub frame perfect. Oh, the sword swipes, the left, the right. He's out of there. First try, Miss Noble in the bag.